Hello, PromoCares. Welcome to our additional video podcast here. We're so excited today because I am here with a co-host. I don't know which way she is on your screen, but Denise, I feel like Brady Bunch, is here from Fairware, another board member. So this is the first time that we've done an interview together. So let's buckle in and get going. So we have mPOWERd here. Thank you for coming here today and being with us all the way from, that's Brooklyn in the background, right? That's what we're seeing.
Manhattan is in the background.
Oh,
we're in Brooklyn.
So cool. So cool. So they've got a great view. We can already tell that. So John, go ahead.
Really cool. Used to be really cool.
It is still cool. And it will be again. It'll be great.
Of course.
So we've got John Salzinger, who is founder of mPOWERd and currently does business development. And then we've got Seungah Jeong, and she is the CEO. So welcome, welcome. We're so happy you are here. So we're going to start here just with a personal level and kind of figure out and hear so that our listeners kind of get to know a little bit more about you as far as when you found this social impact in your life. And was it when you were younger, older, and why is it so important today to you?
For me, it was well before the beginning of the company in 2012. It was just an upbringing. It's a progressive upbringing by both my parents, very liberal. Left-leaning. I lent a little more left than they were. And I used to think that, the way to accomplish this was through, the government, protecting the environment, et cetera, la-di-da. I've actually changed in the last few years, thanks to the administration in the US, I would say. And I'm really sort of pleased that the private sector has the opportunity and is taking the opportunity to care about people and planet, because unfortunately it's not being done by those that we pay our taxes to and that we expect to do so. We're in Brooklyn, New York, and it's a tough place to be right now because of those who haven't really done their jobs, but it does open up an opportunity for companies like ours, B Corps and benefit corporations, to do our job collectively, and it's going to take every company to do this. But I would say it goes way back to just parents that cared about people and planet, ingrained that in my head. I'd done a lot of things before this, from Associated Press, Heartland Payment Systems. I've done a myriad of different things that sort of got me ready to sort of set a company off. And then at this point, I feel like it's a great opportunity for mPOWERd to grow.
That's awesome. Parents, they're important. What about you?
My background's a little bit different. I was born in South Korea before it had really developed as an economy. So I was born into pretty dire circumstances. We didn't have running water or electricity in our homes, and we used kerosene lights, kerosene lanterns. And I always wanted to go into the area of environment and development and sustainability because of my background and the way I had grown up. At some stage, though, and this was before B Corps existed, before going into policy work, I decided that I wanted to learn some really practical skills to be able to bring them into an emerging market. So I decided to go into business, and I started at Procter & Gamble and learned as much as I could about consumer products, fell in love with everything, having to do with products, and stayed in largely the beauty industry for about 2 decades before mPOWERd found me 4 years ago. And it just felt like a full circle moment, having grown up with the kerosene lantern. Now I'm able to help create and distribute our solar lights to those, who can use them not only in markets where they're used for recreation, but also in emerging markets where it's a source of light that's clean energy that helps replace the noxious fumes and, the health hazards caused by not only kerosene, but firewood as well. So really proud to be here.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. All right, Denise, you go.
Yeah, I think what would be awesome for folks to hear about is just a little bit more about the company, how you guys started, and what's that social impact model of business? It's quite unique in the promotional product space. There's not a lot of social enterprises in this industry. You guys are one of the few. And I think it'd be great for folks to understand just your model. Like, what is it that differentiates you, and how are you getting product into those communities via the promo space or the retail space in North America and elsewhere?
Well, secondarily, I would say that all of our vendors and retailers and resellers, including some promo companies we've worked with, help us. So it takes a lot of participation in a full community to try to do what we're doing at scale. So as an example, one of our promotional companies, every single order they do, they give 10% to our Give program. And our Give program allocates lights and mobile chargers out to 90 different countries. Any natural disaster that's going on at the time, we've been there. We work through over 700 NGO and nonprofit partners, so everyone from the UN to Team Rubicon, Save the Children, etc. The primary model is a scaled model. And so what we do is we rely heavily on developed world sales, whether that be promotional or corporate or retail, which is primary for us. And that enables us to produce scale and thus better margins, and to thus reduce margins, and then be able to set our pricing at affordable, localized levels for those who need it, whether if it's a capacity building setting in Southeast Asia or Sub-Saharan Africa, or a natural disaster like Puerto Rico. One example there is 100,000 lights went to Puerto Rico between the earthquake and the hurricane that prefaced it. To date, 4 million lives impacted with just 14 employees, and about 2 million US tons of CO2 averted in the process. And that's just the NGO market. So if any of us on this call had a light, we wouldn't count the averting.
Right. And where'd the idea come from? Like, what was the genesis of the company?
Yeah, so solar light, there were lanterns, there was light, but there was a huge white space. And what we're really good at is looking around at markets and seeing, it may exist already, but taking a whole bunch of different technologies and figuring out how they might work together. So the influx of LEDs, ferric batteries and lithium-ion batteries, plastics in such a way that it can create form and function in a really wonderful mixture. We have a lantern that we've basically turned upside down. You literally don't need to hold it right side up because it doesn't have any sort of kerosene or real flame. It's safe, it's portable, it's lightweight, it's collapsible. We fit 40,000 in a container. You blow life into your light. It's a really exciting new object in a space that one would have thought of as crowded, but we actually thought that this was one of the most important capacity building elements to life in emerging markets, but also one that appeals to developed world consumers so that they could definitely subsidize that initiative. And they have, frankly, we've sold millions of lights. So that's kind of the way we kind of look at it. The moments have been, many. Seungah has her in her life, I've had mine. But right after sort of food, medical, right, water is light. And so for us, that was something that could be commoditized for good.
Right. And, you mentioned that your retail primary, like that's your core market, and you've gotten into the co-branded promotional space. What got you into this space? Was it corporate clients coming to you saying, we want a co-brand? And then you found your way into the market, or was it a deliberate part of the original plan?
I would just say that, part of the reason why our lights look the way they do, they're inflatable, many of our lights. They have space for a company to really put their logo and their branding on it. So as an example, we've worked with Citizen Watch and Good 360. And Citizen Watch, every time they sold one of their lights, one of their Echo watches, which is driven by light of any source, they would give away a Lucy light that had a typeface, it had a logo, a Citizen logo, and a watch face on the top of it. And so the fact that we're able to utilize the plastic around our light for diffusion and for logoing and for, SMUs, special SKUs, for retailers, there's so many different elements to why we've designed it that way. And the promotional space fit right in, as did, as you would know, our price point. Very important.
So I think also for corporations, especially those that are interested in sustainability, do have a CSR branch, et cetera, but maybe that's not the focus of what they do day in and day out. they found, collaboration with our company to be very unique, because not only are we a B Corp, but we are a benefit corporation as well, which means that, our mission is just as important as profit in how we run our business. And that has been the case from the inception of the company almost 8 years ago. So again, for these corporations who are looking for a unique gift, a unique item to really market themselves, they're finding that not only is our product perfect, but our mission is genuine, and just the very setup of our company is sort of ideal for whatever purpose they're looking for.
Are you finding it, when you're working with resellers? So you guys are working, directly with promotional product distributors. You also have a promotional supplier, Compass Promos. If folks are looking for your product in our industry, they can go there and source your product. Are you finding that the resellers have what they need to tell your story and sell your product? Like, do they have the knowledge, the marketing assets, the desire, the client base? Like, are you seeing growth in the promo market, and are you seeing a sales force that's able to sell the product, eloquently and tell your story?
So we are, but we also recognize that it's a newer space, and your company actually is one that has really helped make some inroads into this space. I remember very early on, before actually meeting you, seeing LinkedIn posts on your company, and actually wondering if there was a similar type of company here in the U.S. I know when we set up the partnership with Compass, which is a few years old now, they said that they didn't have anything in their catalog that spoke to our mission in the same way that now they've even set up a program to donate 1 light for every 10 sold. So they were very excited about bringing this into the promotional space, and felt that it offered them an advantage versus selling, another ballpoint pen. I'm saying that in a very reductionist sort of way. But interestingly, John and I went on a couple of sales calls with them, and we found that, some education was required because, we're not an easily recognizable item as well, like a mug or a pen. There's some education behind the solar aspect of our lights. And then on top of that, to provide the education on our mission and, our outreach, just takes a little bit, more effort, but we think that it certainly brings additional value that companies are looking for these days.
Yeah, I would add that, it doesn't matter if you're a consumer with newer buying habits where you can sort of vote with your purchase to buy from a better company, or a buyer at a promotional company or a retail company. People do want to make a difference. And so we've been an agent of change, and we've been a vehicle for people to go home and feel good about what they did that day. I mean, the amount of lights that we've given out or deployed through NGOs around the world is enormous, through corporations. And, as an example, we are on Amazon, and Amazon has us on their disaster relief programming as well. Walmart has used us in the Walmart Foundation with International Medical Corps, and the list just goes on and on. But honestly, I think one of the major levers is the human behind the buying title, right? People want to do good. People want to be involved in this. And for us, we'll tug on heartstrings all day long to make this mission and this company work. There is something very gratifying about being able to help people. 4 million lives and 14 people. It's a good ratio. We're trying to push.
Yeah, it's amazing. One thing, like, just to build on that, I mean, I think there's this incredible ability to just leverage your purchasing power to drive change, and folks are getting it. Buyers are getting it. I think buyers are becoming younger. And people who are more value driven are getting into positions where they're writing the check, so to speak. And it's been refreshing to see people start to drive, whether it's an organic catering company or, a green office supply company. You're seeing folks just make subtle changes in their purchasing powers. It's encouraging. One thing that I think I love about you folks that I find quite refreshing is coming from retail. you're bringing like a visual identity and visual assets, photography, video into the market, and through through Compass and whether we're working directly. And it's a rare thing in our industry. And I would say that like in the promotional space, for me as a reseller, for me to sell product, it's tough to get gorgeous photos. It's tough to get lifestyle photos that show that use case. And you talked a little bit, it's different than a mug, it's different than a pen. And having a white box shot of a solar lantern, it's like, oh, that's interesting. But having a beautiful photo of someone with a string of lanterns over a picnic table or out on a hike or camping or in a tent, it just makes it easier to sell. So it's something that, as we talk to social impact entrepreneurs, I think, in our industry, for all of the suppliers, thinking beyond, just having a good product and having a good price and these really utilitarian selling points to what is the experience? What's that use case? What's not only in your supply chain and not only in the impact side of it, but even the product itself? Like, what is that experience that you're going to get with that product? And we've just started trying to sell your product, and I found it's kind of an easy product to sell when you show the adventure, you show the picnic, you show the night out with friends at a picnic table. It's like, yeah, that's a great gift. Like, that is a great useful thing. And I think sometimes about the utility of products is an often overlooked aspect of sustainability. And it's something that I appreciate about yours. I know
I wanted to interject 1 second because I don't want to get creative already, because we have some incredibly talented people. We have 2 people in our entire creative team, and they do everything. And then on top of that, what's really authentic and I think important to share is many of our photos come from NGOs or come from ambassadors. We've never paid an ambassador $1. These are people that are using our light. We create product for humans, and in return, they send us incredible, authentic imagery of how it's actually used, whether that's in emerging markets or the developed world. So I think a lot of that rings true in, again, that community building.
And I just...
Oh, I'm so sorry. One other comment, because I love how you laid out, something you appreciate about our brand. And, mPOWERd actually is an acronym for micro power design. So micro means, a small portable item. Power refers to the clean energy that powers all of our products. But design is where we love to excel, because we really do see the consumer, be it the end consumer in an emerging market or a consumer here in the US or Canada, or the retailer, whoever the consumer is. We want them to feel wowed by our product. It's not just a utilitarian product, but form and function work together to really create something joyful. And, we want people to want these items as they're going on whatever adventure, they're going on, as they're gifting a product. Our lights are some of the most giftable products, especially, around the holidays, because they're completely unique, unisex, no age required. They're fun and they're useful and they're just joyful. So thank you for noticing that.
Yeah. No, it's a refreshing change, in our space, because I think a lot of people in our space don't think about that kind of visual identity in the same way that retailers do. So you can kind of, for me, I often look at suppliers and I can tell if they're coming through a retail primary channel just by how they look and show up in their marketing and experience. So I just had one last question. And we're a founding Canadian B Corp. We've been a B Corp for 12 years now. We have a lot of reasons for what drove us there and why it was important for us in this space. I'm curious why you guys pursued the B Corp certification, and just maybe what it's brought to your business, whether it's for your employees, for the markets you serve.
From day one, when we founded the company, we were a B Corp. Whether you look at a Unilever or a Patagonia or a Ben & Jerry's, it is the way of the future. Consumers do purchase and make purchase decisions based on the companies they're buying from. I break it down a little more simply. I just think that capitalism is great, if it's bailed out by socialism every 10 years. No, just kidding. Capitalism is great if it's used to incentivize need, right? And you're selling something that someone wants. It can be as simple as, you know, a little kid selling lemonade on a hot day because someone's thirsty. If you stay true to that, if you're fulfilling needs, right? Light is a need for human beings. And so that's kind of what we are. A B Corp and a benefit corporation rang true. B Corp, as you know, tells the world that that's what you do. And the benefit corporation part of it holds you accountable to your shareholders. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's been natural and very easy to do. And even at times when people are trying to push you too far on the profit side, you can also move to the impact side and vice versa. So it creates a decent tension and balance in a company. And whenever we aren't in this company anymore, if that ever happens, that will continue. And so the formation was really, really important for us from day one.
Awesome. Well, those are my questions. I know, you know, the PromoCares gang, our agenda is really just to drive some awareness in the industry and try and get people to move in a new direction towards a more sustainable future and, you know, support the businesses that are driving change like you folks and bring some awareness to you. So I'm grateful that you were here. Karie, I don't know if you have any other questions or wrap up or.
We love your business. We love your business and what you're doing. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, they're awesome. So thank you for being here today. You both, it's very inspiring, and in the times that we're in, full disclosure, in the midst of all this COVID fun, it's nice to see inspiration, and it's nice to see people that are being innovative. And I see that. And so as a distributor, even in Arizona, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get out there, and you make me strive to be better. And I hope that's the case with anyone listening to this, the little tweaks that you can make, or, you know, selling something along the lines of mPOWERd. It's a very inspiring story. So thank you for your time today. We really appreciate you being here.
I want to add one thing, because both Seungah and I had COVID and got through it, and we're okay, thankfully, but it was harrowing. And we owe it to our team to shout them out for keeping the business going as they did on the days that we weren't feeling well. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys are on the up track and feeling healthy again.
6 miles, running 6 miles. It's over.
I know.
We're good. And she had it much worse than I did. I really did.
We're so thankful you pulled through, and thank you for spending the time. I'm sure it's precious right now with everything else going on. So thank you.
No, thank you for the opportunity.
All right.